Action SA and other coalition partners in the City of Tshwane have welcomed the DA's proposal for a deputy mayor position to be created, but opposition parties in the metro have rejected the proposal. EFF Tshwane Caucus Whip Godwin Ratikwana joins us now in studio for more on this. Godwin, a very good evening to you.
Thank you very much, and good evening to the viewers.
Thank you for making time to speak to us. I mean, let's start right there. What do you make of this creation of a position for a deputy mayor?
It seeks to suggest that the approach here is our time to eat. That is being proposed by the Action SA is political expediency, and it is not backed by any form of facts or whatsoever. We are dealing with a situation here that the municipality was actually promulgated or formed around 2000 on the 5th of December. And between then and now, we've never had a vacancy of what was some sort or even a need to have a deputy mayor in the City of Tshwane. We are dealing with a situation whereby we are trying to silence a political crybaby of the coalition of the DA-led government. So we are stuck here because they want to make underhanded dealings and they want to eat. And they are telling the DA that we can't eat alone, we have to be there and we must eat together. But what about the residents of Tshwane? What about the workers of Tshwane? We are sitting with a city that can't pay increase of salaries, but they want to reward certain political parties. We are sitting with a city that cannot provide services. If you go in Tshwane, the roads are in a terrible state. The people of Hammanskraal don't have water. There is just a general decay of service delivery, and infrastructure can't be maintained. Last time we highlighted what was happening in Tshwane area where we used to count the IC votes, where there was an operation center there in Tshwane as the EFF. And we're showing you the state of decay in terms of the infrastructure and so on. And we have now a political party that says, you know what, we want this thing, we don't care how much it costs. And they want to claim that this does not come with any additional cost, but it's actually a lie, because it is clear according to that report that they smuggled in, that they want to give additional benefits, extra staff members, extra security, vehicles, and so on and so on. And they will increase some form of monetary arrangement when it comes to that particular position. We reject that as the EFF because we think it's not backed by any form of logic or intellectualism whatsoever.
Would you then say, based on what you're saying, Godwin, that it's simply a question of playing politics and awarding each other, to say, let's create enough spaces for ourselves within the council?
At the expense of the residents of Tshwane and the workers. That's our problem, because reward each other whatsoever you want to do, as long as you are able to do your core mandate, and which is the job that you need to do. What is the point of putting MMC Peggy the Brain, which is who they are trying to bring? That woman has presided over the City of Tshwane, has been an MMC in various positions since the time of Solim Simanga in 2016 up to now. And where the city was and where it is now, it's a shame. It's a shadow of its former self. And it was under her watch. It is clear that it is just political expediency and rewarding each other, as you are putting it, and trying to say, how can we milk this cow before we collapse it altogether?
With that said, then, and I'm glad, Godwin, that you mentioned the issue of residents, which sometimes for the rest of us who are sitting on the outside watching politicians, we feel that there's not enough that is being done about the actual people that suffer when these issues are happening. We know the problems that Tshwane has had over the years with regards to mayors. It's well documented that council has always had problems. What do you think needs to be done? What would be the solution in that instance? I mean, beyond the fact that tomorrow they will be pushing for this position of a deputy mayor.
Yeah, look, here is the issue. You can't bloat the administration and the political, the executive of any government structure, by the way, because the EFF position, we've always rejected this. Even when you create a lot of useless ministerial positions, deputy mayors and so forth, deputy ministers, MMCs and so forth, people that you can see they can't add any value whatsoever. The residents are suffering, Kwena. If I had to tell you, if you go there, you go and check in Oliver Noteboch, robots are not working. There's robots that have never been serviced for like forever. The roads are not maintained. Whatever that they thought they built as a tar road It has been eroded by the rains and so on. It is damaged because it was never quality to start with. We are stuck. Instead of them focusing on key issues like that, they want to give each other paying positions with additional perks so that they can be comfortable for as long as the city can pay them. Now, the issue here is that when it comes to the stability of the city, the deputy mayor still will not assist, because if you want to bring a motion of no confidence, just bring a motion of no confidence against 3 people at the same time. If you want to remove the speaker and remove the deputy mayor and remove the mayor, you will still remove all of them, including their MMCs. So that's why I'm telling you that the logic itself seeks to say that we want to have a backup of some sort in an event that there is a motion of no confidence or a mayor is unable to come. But here we are dealing with an incompetent mayor in the name of Silas Brink. So what we are trying to do here is that laziness of Silas Brink cannot be camouflaged by having a deputy mayor, because in any case the deputy mayor can only exercise his or her responsibilities when the mayor is absent or is unable to carry out those particular functions, not for laziness purposes or just not being able to rise to the occasion, becoming utterly useless. In fact, if you had to go and research the person they are bringing, will still not bring anything of material on the table and nothing that can assist the people of Tshwane whatsoever. So I don't get the point. That's why I'm telling you that what the Action SA is telling the residents of Tshwane, South Africa, and everybody else is that it is their time to eat, and the DA cannot eat alone. It is clear. It is about the eat. And who are they eating? They are eating the taxpayers' money. They are finishing up whatever that is remaining in the city of Tshwane just so that they can be comfortable in their luxury vehicles and having their blue lights and all sorts of things. But what about the people of Tshwane? What are they doing? What is the groundbreaking thing that they are doing in the city of Tshwane in terms of service delivery, the Hammanskraal issue of water, and every other problem that we are having? Why can't we have an announcement that the city of Tshwane has improved? We are going to be having the Auditor General's report very soon. It's coming. And I'm telling you that that particular auditor's report is not going to come clean and shine. It is going to show you, because we sit in Section 79 committees where we can see the rot just is piling up. And I can tell you, and I can assure you here, and I can tell you without any fear of contradiction, that when that report comes, it's going to show you that these people are rotten to the core.
So what is the plan then from the EFF's position to, lack of a better phrasing, challenge this move to get a deputy mayor?
No, thank you. We have opposed that report. It was smuggled in. Unfortunately, we had no power whatsoever to stop it. Now, when we started, we have even protested inside council. We have done almost everything. You know, EFF is one of the most effective opposition parties you can ever get in any structure, whether it's a provincial legislature or councils or even districts and parliament. So we have held the placards and fought this thing. Now they've managed to smuggle it in. Now we're going there, I think the 16th of January. We are going to be opposing it still. And we're going to employ various tactics to ensure that we oppose this thing. And the people of Tshwane can see that the EFF is anti. So history must record us properly. And history must never shy away from the position of the EFF, because it is a position informed by superior logic.
Well, and the reason I'm asking this, Godwin, is that you know how this council things work.
Yes.
It's going to come down to numbers.
Yes.
It's going to come out to, how much lobbying has been done and who gets to benefit out of this. Looking at the EFF's position, how far do you think this will go? How far do you think your challenge will go? And will it succeed in stopping those that are pushing for this deputy mayor position?
Yeah, you see, that is another problem we're having. It shouldn't be about numbers, and then we must just allow logic to flow out of the window, and we must just shut out anything that makes sense, because that's why democracy, you are given an opportunity to speak before any report is passed, because you are trying to persuade each other. If we are going to just come and say it's about numbers, like they are running it in terms of numbers, you are going to suspend logic, you are going to suspend intelligence when you approach matters, and sensitivity of the condition, time and space. This could work in a different municipality maybe that is able to do the job, that it has enough revenue to pay and make sure that it sustains without collapsing the infrastructure and service delivery. So we are saying as the EFF, even if we are small in terms of number, we are 23 there, and we are going to challenge all those particular narratives. We've been able to stamp our authority irrespective of whether we were a majority in parliament and so on. And that's why we are who we are today. That's why people and society trust and believe that the EFF is a leader of society and is government in waiting, and it is government in different other, of course, municipalities and so on. But the point here is that we should always try to engage substance, not just become voting cattle, which is what those DA people are doing and many other people are doing. They wake up when it's time to vote and they just vote those people. And that's what the problem is. They remove them from hospital beds.
That's how political parties work.
No, but that's the issue. We should, yes, because politics, we must have capable leadership. We must have people that are able to articulate. We must have educated people with capacity. Because if we accept the status quo and we say, no, this is the status quo, we are having a problem. We are going to then send the west of the west into those particular councils, into political structures. And then we are going to have a situation where we are collapsing the entire government. That's why people believe that this government doesn't work for them. Why? It's because you don't scout for talent, you don't listen to logic, you don't listen to intellectual contributions that are made by various people and say, but can we consider what these people are saying? We just become voting cattle, like all those mamas of the day, an Afrikaner-based Freedom Front Plus members that just never say anything. They're just waiting for voting time. And when the food was still supplied for lunch and so on. And they will sleep. Because they're grannies and they can't produce any form. They can't sustain an argument about any subject. It doesn't matter whether the subject is at a certain level of intellectual level or whatever.
But then that's my point, Godwin, in that politics, unfortunately, it's a game of numbers.
We must change it.
But how do you change that? Because the party that's going to get the most votes this year in the national elections will be the leading party. You know what I mean? That's how it works.
No, that's correct. I understand.
Whoever gets more votes at an EFF caucus will become. You know what I mean? That's unfortunately how it works.
Yes.
So how then do you challenge that?
We must infuse intellectual capacity itself in general, into the numbers issue. So when you start to vote, you consider the points that are made. You consider the arguments. You don't come with a position and you don't want to be swayed, because then why do we get to speak? Because then we can just put a document and become silent, and then we raise our hands like that. The point here is that we must strive to change the system, and we must challenge the system. We must raise the red flags in the system so that tomorrow they can say, but the EFF did mention this.
And I think that's where the big issue comes in, because the reality is that, Godwin, political parties who vote within the party line. Yes. You know, if there's an EFF party line, this is what we're going to do in council, and so on, and co-parliamenting, and so on and so forth. So then the issue becomes, how do you change the system? Can the system be changed?
Yeah, but look, I mean, at the end of the day, we are going to challenge it because it's our constitutional right, and that's how it works also. It's part of the system itself. But the point I'm saying is that also our people, the voters, have an opportunity to look at these people and see them for what they really are, which is just thugs. They are changing different clothes. They can come here. These are the same people that came from the DA. They created a black caucus of the DA in the name of Action SA, and then separated the whites from the blacks and said, this is the white establishment, this is the black establishment. But the line of march still comes from Cape Town. So the point here is that when you speak about the party line here is bled in a sense that all of these people are controlled all the way from Cape Town by John Steinhuisen and Zil. So the point here is, let us not just sit here and say the voters are helpless. Young people must go register to vote. They can make this year to become a great year where we can turn these things around and change here and there. And we can start something that can sustain South Africa and save South Africa and the City of Tshwane in particular in relation to this issue. Because if they are going to retain and keep on voting for these people who want to eat at all costs, they don't care what is the financial state of the city. They just want to eat because it is their time to eat.
The issue of coalitions, Godwin, is that also not a sort of segment into the problems that we find ourselves in, and not only in Tshwane, well, specifically we'll speak to you about Tshwane, but in many of the metros where we've seen coalitions. And even now when we're talking 2024 national elections, there's already talk of coalitions, parties saying maybe we should think about this, maybe we should go into bed with that one, maybe we don't, already those talks are happening, whether openly or otherwise, they are happening.
No, here is the issue. Is whatever pack that they're bringing, whether it's in the moon or whatever. But the fact is, these people, that's why I'm saying to you, they are controlled from one central point. The center is holding and the center is in Cape Town. So that's why they can confidently and boldly caucus and announce pre-elections that this is what they want to do and so on. Because they don't even base their stuff on science or results or anything. They are just saying, as a matter of principle, and we are with you, and it doesn't matter what we're getting, because they're one thing to start with. So that's why I'm saying it was just to separate the black caucus from the white caucus, so that there is no internal squabbles, as it may. And then all of them can go and others can go convince people in the township and claim that they represent their best interest because they are black caucus. But in all, it is still the same DA that has just formed a black caucus, which is Action SA. But the EFF wants to govern alone. That's why the EFF is not talking anything coalition whatsoever. You must listen to our messages. We're able to fill up that FNB stadium, not those things of Mbombela where they put big banners and so on, just to fill up the gaps and the empty seats, where they took people from the stadium and did an overflow, just so that they say there's an overflow. The point here is that we are capacitated, and we do have that capacity as the EFF to actually run this country. And the people of South Africa can slowly show that the EFF is the most organized political party that you can have in South Africa. When it tells you are going to do this at this time in this particular date, that is going to happen. And I can guarantee you it doesn't matter what is the weather conditions, whatever the challenges we might find, we're going to fight and make sure that we do get what we want and do what we said to do. That's why the Commander-in-Chief was very clear to say that we have set and we're giving even ourselves different tasks, and none of those things were not done. We're able to do everything we said we'd do and more, in fact.
Godwin, we're out of time, but I just want to throw in one quick question, and you touched on it. The issue of voter apathy, that EFF, arguably a party that speaks more to the young people, to the younger generation, but there is this view of voter apathy. How do you deal with that as the EFF, to say young people have lost faith in the ruling party, but also in politics in general?
Yeah. No, let me tell you, part of the problem we're having is that we're having a government that has made it its point to create a state of dependency in whatever capacity, just so that they can try to control people, so that people do not see what is important, so that they give you a certain amount of money and all this and this grants and so on and so on. This is good for, of course, the welfare of the people. But teach people about democracy. What does it mean? It's a system where you should be able to remove a political party when it does not perform. And you will see political parties will come on board and say, if we don't perform, we're going to be removed. So young people are not even taught. The IEC is not doing enough in terms of going out there in schools. I myself grew up until this particular age. I've never seen an IEC in some assembly parade just giving and just a basic overview. What is voting? How do you vote? Why should you vote? So, and those are people that are already organized. Now they run around last minute, they open 2-3 days and so on, and then they say, no, people were told, people were informed, and so on and so on. But it is much more work that needs to be done so that our people can know the value of democracy, how to exercise it, because people died to have this right. And now other people, of course, they don't see the significance of a vote. But we're going to get them to vote. Thank you.
We're out of time, but thank you so much for popping in. Appreciate your time and your insight. Godwin Ratikwana talking to us there. Well, basically about a number of things, but initially the idea behind the introduction of a position of a deputy mayor.